There's a threat in the world today. A threat to our way of living, a threat to our society, and maybe even a threat to our very existence. And what is this threat?
So I guess with that being said, where do you go for all of your
Put a stamp on segment one. It's out of here.
out of here? Ship it, bag it, tag it. Where do you go for all your sporting needs?
I go to BWSPORTS1.com. That's right, BWSPORTS1.com. You get all the happenings.
That's where I go as well. So
on everything, black and white sports, checkers and records, esports and whatnot. If you missed the show from Dick's Last Resort last night, you can get it at BWSPORTS1.com and find links to.
They are coming out.
To a review. Yeah. Dan is actually editing all that right now.
They are coming out.
They're coming out.
We know what they are. So, but yeah, like that said, we had a great time last night out at Dick's Last Resort. And then I think you and I had an even better time out at Ingles.
Yes.
So, but let's hop into
segment number 2. A little IndyCar action.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a good day. We have some Indy cars going to be on the track later on, 4:15 today?
4:15, yeah. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and publish this second poll here.
Second poll.
We got a second poll, guys. We're going to try. Look at this. We are doing new things. Trying.
I'm impressed.
So here's the next one is, does a rookie finish in the top 5 during today's IndyCar race? I'm going to go ahead and publish that bad boy now. And guys, go ahead and let us know what you think. And I have kept voting up after the video.
Okay.
So we'll be able to give everybody.
Yeah, let me vote on this real quick.
Yeah, you go right ahead. So I'll go ahead and get this started here with IndyCar.
Where are they at today?
They are at Barber Motorsports, so Motorsports Park.
I like that track.
And they call it like the Disney of motorsports. Have you heard about any of this?
I haven't.
So the guy that owns this place, like, bought all this land, and he builds it up. And there's like a Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz hanging under one of the places, like the cars drive by. And then they have blow up inflatable like churches and different stuff like that.
That would be kind of crazy.
Yeah. So I was able to. Miss Tiger, the lady that is involved with IndyCar. She, I believe she follows us, and she posted some pictures. I follow her on Facebook, and I posted them onto the page there. It's got the Dorothy and just some of the different, not things you usually see at a track. So apparently this is one of those places you have to go. I didn't know all this till this year, so I want to check it out. It's not a far drive from here.
I had a chance to race there when I was in karting, but it was kind of that race wasn't going to pay any points for me.
Sure.
And I had a points race the next weekend, so it's like, okay, if I go to Barber, then I have to hurry and get ready for the next weekend. And with enduro kart racing, it's always traveling, so it's nothing that's close to home. The only home race we really had was IRP. But yeah, now looking back on, I wish I would have ran that track.
Oh yeah, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a fun one. I'm looking forward to the race. I look forward to about any IndyCar race.
True.
That goes through.
It's a 2.3 mile road course.
It's like 2.34, I think. Is
17 turns and 80 feet of elevation change. That's
what I like about these kind of the first series of road courses in the IndyCar series is the elevation changes. You're not used to like here in Indy. I mean, what's our elevation change? 2 feet.
If
like in turn 1.
6 inches on a good day.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, exactly. So with these like Coda, I mean, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's got mad elevation changes.
St. Petersburg. They had elevation changes in St.
Mid-Ohio.
Mid-Ohio.
Road America.
So, I mean, yeah, you see these, and that's what's interesting. I do like these elevation changes. I didn't think, I mean, now that I look more technical into the sport and stuff, it's really fun and interesting to see these.
Oh, elevation changes really throw another aspect into the track. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
It definitely can. You know, there's a turn in at Mid Ohio. I want to say it's turn 5 or 6 maybe. It's right before where Michael Andretti flipped the car that year and skidded across the track.
Mm-hmm.
He turned right before that. Right after that. I'm sorry. But when you go up, you turn in and you go uphill. Then you got a left hand off camber blind turn, and then you kind of drop back down, and it can really upset the car going through there. And an enduro car, it's real crazy because it's blind. You go up the hill and you turn and you hope you hit the track. But yeah, elevation changes are another factor for you know, the crew chiefs to have to set the car up, because you know, you come into a turn, like I said, if it's off camera and coming slightly back downhill, it can really upset the car.
Right. So
you have to, you know, set up the car to allow for that.
Yep, I could see that being a huge challenge for the teams today, and as well as in the future on these, like you're saying, with the elevation changes.
Right. Newgarden was last year's winner of this race.
Yep, and I think he's starting like 17th today. So I mean,
really,
he put it back deep. Penske didn't have the showing they really wanted to in qualification. Will Power put it back there pretty far. So I mean, kind of interesting to see if those guys. And I mean, Newgarden seems to be on his game this year. He really does.
Well, so. Like we discussed on one of the earlier shows, Newgarden's really after another championship this year.
Right, and it still blows my mind because he has yet to say anything about the 500. And
well, I mean, I think that's a given. I think every driver in the IndyCar series wants to win the Indy 500.
But they always talk about it. And he's not, and maybe that's in his head. It's like, man, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want it to be so stuck in my head that I got to win.
I think if you dwell on it, that might, you know, add more pressure to, you know, May and running out of Indy. Indy's already a different animal. You know?
It's in the back of your head.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So, but no, I just find that interesting. I mean, like I said in the past, we're used to hearing these guys like, oh, I can't wait till to try to get my win at Indy. But no, he's putting it forward every week, and he's worried about the title. So.
And what do you think about Ray Hall, Letterman, Lanigan cars?
Take
1-2 in qualifying. That's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at that point, it's not just a fluke in the driver. It was you set the cars up. You guys, you knew what you were doing this week, and boom, it shows. And they put it 1-2. And I think that now it's flipped from what I would have expected when I heard that they put it 1-2. I thought Graham would have been on the front.
Sato's fast, man.
He is absolutely.
But he's one of those drivers that will drive way over the top and crash car.
Yeah, we're talking that. But before we started here, Sato is the guy that he'll have a 20-second lead over somebody, and he'll go into the turn 20 miles an hour faster than he needs to.
He'll take risks that he doesn't need when he's on. He'll kind of J.R. Hildebrand, if you will.
Exactly. The famous lap traffic on the last lap of the 500. Let's go around them. No, dude, you got a 30-second lead. He's still kicking himself on that one. I'll never forget that. But hey, you know what? Dan won that race. I'm happy. So.
Okay, so lead us into this next little note we have here, because you were telling me about it before we started the show this morning. So elaborate on that.
I was reading a little bit on IndyCar, talking like the top guys over at IndyCar were discussing not really the possibilities, but when it would happen, a new manufacturer coming into the sport. So I mean, we have the unified chassis with the Dallara. So
kind of a spec chassis, if you will.
I mean, does McLaren come in and do a body? Because I mean, the Honda body and the Chevy body is different. I mean, it's the same chassis. The body is a little different there. So does McLaren come in and do a different body and run Chevy power? Because they are running Chevy in the 500 this year.
I really don't know. I don't know what the rules are as far as, you know, body work goes.
Right.
I don't know if that is designated to the engine manufacturer only, or if a team like McLaren could come in and redesign body or redesigned chassis. I'm not exactly sure how the rules are set up for that.
I'm pretty sure the rule on the chassis, they have to run that. It's a safety feature,
Right.
the Delarge, so they have to run that Delarge. Now, would they change that rule for another manufacturer? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if McLaren come in and really want to say, hey, you know, we're gonna do a chassis and we'll abide by all the rules, same as the Delarge. I don't know if IndyCar allows that or not. I definitely think they need a little more parity in IndyCar, whether that be, I wouldn't necessarily say the chassis aspect, like we talked earlier. I think, you know, having the one chassis is kind of better for teams where you don't have to, you know, compete against several different chassis manufacturers like F1 does.
Cost, yeah.
But I think we definitely need some other engine manufacturers in the series. I mean, besides just Honda and Chevy.
So does Renault come into the game? Do we see that as a possibility? Or I mean, Red Bull runs Honda powered, so I don't know. I mean, I guess it leaves. We were talking. You're not going to see Mercedes or Ferrari jump into this.
Right.
I could see Red Bull, but then again, they're not an engine manufacturer.
Do you see Toyota? But I don't see Toyota coming in there because they're already, you know, with NASCAR going on and everything like that. But how we've talked earlier, how IndyCar's kind of gaining the momentum, or is Toyota maybe thinking about, okay, this is our future here, so let's jump on board and develop an engine for IndyCar and get the ball rolling on that. I don't know.
I didn't even think of that. Now that you say that seems very, very plausible.
I would definitely like to see at least one more engine manufacturer in IndyCar.
I would agree. Now, when Lotus ran, was that a chassis? Did they run Lotus engines?
I think it was just Lotus engines.
Okay, so maybe that's and maybe we've seen Lotus in the past. Maybe they try to make their entrance back into Indy, or maybe I just don't want the it's the same. I just don't want the
Gotcha,
the
David.
sport to be
Good looking out.
blown up to a bunch of money then, because I feel like IndyCar has brought that back into perspective and into they've done as good as they can to keep the competition as affordable as possible, I guess.
Okay, but going and talking about affordable and cost and everything, just bring it up real quick. What did Mark Hogue tell you yesterday?
You're exactly, and
Tell us.
He said racing is not expensive, really. He said winning is expensive.
That's exactly right.
And that's why you see Penske
How
on
fast
top.
do you
That's
want
why
to go?
But I think, you know, maybe it does bring in the just with the chassis builds, it's just more money that teams have to throw in. I don't know. That's why I like the unified chassis there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great saying. It is.
So, I seen your notes. You got down. Hinch was fast this weekend. Does he put it up front?
I don't know what's going on with Hinch. I think he stays up there for a little bit, and he probably has a decent showing, but I don't think he's gonna win.
I don't either. I don't see him winning.
Sorry, buddy, but he's over here. But I just don't see him. I just don't see him popping out the win. So,
Now, his teammate is
the dude from F1 last year,
Ericsson.
Yeah, exactly. Because he came in when Wickens
Right.
got hurt. So
Maybe that team's just struggling. They just don't look like they're performing like they have in the past.
does Schmidt have any? Is it just himself, or is there any other parties in that?
I'm sure he's probably got some.
But I think it's just Sam Schmidt Racing.
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
pretty sure. Or is it Schmidt Peterson?
There you go. So
Schmidt
it is, yes,
Peterson?
yeah. So, and maybe if they had another backer that could possibly just get them over the hump. I don't know what it is there, because Hinch seems to be a decent driver. Maybe it's after that accident here at Indy. Is he changed after that? You get in a bad accident like that, and he almost died.
Could be.
That when that rod went through his leg, I mean, it's a freak accident. Still,
Well, and then you have
you realize what.
then you have Wickens getting hurt
and
real
he's a
bad in the
teammate.
car, and that team. It's like maybe
Schmidt's paralyzed from an accident.
true. Maybe that team is. I wouldn't necessarily say gun shy, but maybe they're worried about getting another driver hurt or something. I don't know, but it's like they just don't have the performance they've had in the past.
Right.